So hello guys, welcome back to Dear ICSCE. Today we're gonna see the explanation of the chapter Enchanted Pool.
Today we're going to dive into a story from the ancient Indian epic, the Mahabharata, that asks a really timeless question. When it comes down to a life or death choice, what really matters more, your brute strength or your wisdom? This is the incredible story of the Enchanted Pool.
All right, let's kick things off with a bit of a riddle. I never was, am always to be. Any guesses? The answer is tomorrow. And that very idea of looking beyond the heat of the present moment, well, it's at the absolute heart of the story we're about to get into.
Okay, so our story kicks off with the 5 Pandava brothers, and they are at their absolute lowest point. They've spent 12 long years in exile in the forest, and right now they're exhausted, they're hungry, and they are tormented by this desperate, all-consuming thirst.
So how did they even get into this mess? Well, it all started when they were chasing a deer. But here's the thing, this was no ordinary deer. It was some kind of magical creature that led them on this grueling chase, deep, deep into the woods, before just, poof, vanishing. And it left them totally drained and desperate for water.
The eldest brother, Yudhishthira, sends Nakula to find water. Nakula finds this beautiful pool, but he doesn't come back. Weird, right? So his twin, Sahadeva, goes looking for him. And he doesn't come back either. Then Arjuna, the legendary warrior, he goes. Still nothing. Finally, the super strong Bhima goes to see what's going on, and he vanishes too. 4 brothers just gone.
And here's the crazy part. Every single brother ran into the exact same problem. As soon as they got to the pool, this invisible voice, the voice of a yaksha, a powerful nature spirit, gave them a really clear warning with one simple rule. Answer my questions first, and then you can drink.
But, their thirst was just out of control. And honestly, their pride was probably even bigger. One by one, they just ignored the voice, thinking their strength or their status meant they didn't have to follow the rules. And one by one, the second they drank that water, they just dropped, seemingly dead.
So now it's just Yudhishthira, the eldest, who's left. He's completely heartbroken, filled with this horrible sense of dread, and he heads out to find his brothers and figure out what in the world happened. And what he finds, it's just a horrifying scene. His 4 powerful brothers are lying lifeless all around the pool. The story uses this really powerful image, saying they look like sacred temple flagpoles that have just been carelessly tossed aside. Yudhishthira is just completely and utterly devastated.
And sure enough, as he gets near the water, he hears that same voice. But here's the key difference. Unlike his brothers, he stops. He gets it, instantly. This isn't a test of strength. It's a test of wisdom. He knows that to save himself, and maybe even save his brothers, he has to play by the rules.
And so it begins, one of the most famous philosophical showdowns in the whole epic. A total rapid-fire Q&A between the mortal king and this unseen spirit, with life and death literally hanging in the balance. All right, first question from the Yaksha is pretty straightforward, something about the physical world.
And Yudhishthira doesn't even hesitate. The mind. And, think about it. It's so true, right? Our thoughts can zip around the world in a split second, way faster than any gust of wind.
Okay, so the questions start to shift gears now, moving away from the physical and into the world of ethics. What, the voice asks, is more sustaining than the earth itself? And his answer, wow. It's not a thing, it's a person. And it's a virtue. He says a mother's love and care for her children is more fundamental to our existence than the very ground we stand on. Next up, a question that gets right into how our minds work. What's something you can lose that actually brings you joy instead of sadness?
When you let go of anger, you free yourself from all the sorrow it inevitably brings. It's a loss that's actually a win. You can see, Yudhishthira doesn't just know things. He understands people. He understands the human heart.
Okay, so the Yaksha has been throwing question after question at him, dozens of them, and Yudhishthira has nailed every single one with this calm, profound wisdom. But now here it comes, the final question, the big one.
Seriously, take a second. What would you say? The Grand Canyon? The stars in the sky? What is the single greatest wonder?
Yudhishthira's answer, it's breathtaking. He says the greatest wonder is that every single day we see people die. We see life end. We know it's coming for us. And yet, We all live as if we're going to live forever. It's such a powerful insight into our own minds.
And with that, the test is over. Yudhishthira has proven that he possesses something called dharma, that he's not just knowledgeable, but truly wise and righteous. And now, it's time for his reward.
The Yaksha is just blown away. The voice tells him that because he showed such wisdom and respect, all 4 of his brothers will be revived. Can you even imagine the relief he must have felt in that moment? And then we get the final, absolutely stunning reveal. The Yaksha shows his true form, and he is Yama, the god of death and justice. And get this, he explains that he was also the magic deer. The whole thing, from start to finish, was a divine test set up for his own son, Yudhishthira, to see if his virtue was the real deal.
So Yama gives him these incredible blessings. First, his brothers are back to life. Check. Second, he promises that in their final year of exile, where they have to live in disguise, nobody will recognize them. And finally, he basically tells them, you're going to succeed in your quest. It's a total victory, won entirely with his mind, not with a sword.
And this kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about, right? Yudhishthira obviously knew all the right answers, but was that what really saved him? Or was it something deeper? His humility, his patience, his respect for a law that was bigger than himself? It really makes you wonder, is the real test of our character about what we know or about what we choose to do with what we know?